Welcome to Silent Achievers, Stories Beyond the Limelight. I'm Adam, your host. In this podcast, we dive into the untold stories of those who prioritize impact over attention. Join us as we celebrate the unsung heroes, the architects of progress, and the quiet innovators shaping our world with deeds, not declarations. Get ready for inspiring narratives that often escape the mainstream spotlight. This is where passion, dedication, and innovation take center stage. Welcome to Silent Achievers. Welcome to Silent Achievers. Today, with Dr. Karla Jones, who has an extensive background in academia, professional sports, athletic administration, sports management, and health and wellness. Welcome, Dr. Jones.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
How are you today?
Doing good.
Dr. Jones, you recently trip to Super Bowl with students. Sounds fascinating. Could you share some highlights of the trip? What was it? How was the experience?
Yes. So in February of 2024, a group of 10 students and myself, we were able to be a part of the NFL workforce, a teammate for the Super Bowl fan experience, and also game day. We put together like a week of activities in addition to them being paid employees. I think I need to emphasize that as well. They worked shifts for the fan experience. We were separated in different areas. Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay Convention Center really put on a show for the fans. And we worked that shift. Then we participated in networking events with other schools. In total, there were 50 schools across the United States. And from North Carolina, there was only Queen's University of Charlotte and my alma mater, East Carolina University, that was there from North Carolina. So that was pretty cool. The students got to network. We went to an event with Living Sport, their organization that focuses on experiential learning also. And we were able to go to networking events. I took a couple of Black students to the Black Sports Business event that took place there. We got to enjoy the city, look around, and on NFL game day for the Super Bowl, we worked our shifts. We were responsible for checking in all the other teammates, and then we kind of wrapped it up. But it was a great experience for them. We filtered it through the club, the Sports Business and Marketing Club here at Queens, and they were responsible for raising funds and, getting prepared for that. Therefore, it was pretty cool.
It sounds like a really good experience for students. So what strategies do you employ to help students discover and kind of leverage their unique strengths and when they are pursuing, their careers in sports management, but also in sports in general?
Yes, as soon as I meet them, I let them know how important it is to have those types of experiences before you graduate. One thing that I say when I'm letting people know about the sport management program is that at Queen's University Charlotte, through our program, you leave with anywhere between 2 to 3 internships, but that doesn't mean stop there. You have to continue to gain that experience on campus and off campus. Therefore, anytime I see an event that I think will be beneficial to students, I will send it out to them, encourage them to attend, or I will attend myself and network with the professionals and bring that back to my students. But over and over again, I stress to them the importance of actually taking what you learned in the classroom and putting it out there. And I don't think we're talking about leadership. I don't think they understand when they are volunteering or working something like the Jumpman Classic that they worked in December, that is actually displaying your leadership skills because they give you these tasks. They don't hand walk you through it within the sports industry. They give you a task, you complete it, you do it, different things like that. So as undergrads, I definitely encourage them to do as much as they can. And my start in academia was actually at Johnson C. Smith University, and that's where I started becoming passionate about experiential learning. I used to do things with them, such as taking them to be media for the Bobcats on game day. And during that time, I started working at Queens. So it was a Johnson C. Smith and Queens University, learning about game stats, sitting in on post-game interviews. And I think those type of experiences and the Super Bowl and others are very, very important to students.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true that experiences are super important, and it sounds like you are really a great mentor for your students. Who was your mentor? Who kind of inspired you, who helped you, who shaped your career in a way, maybe?
That's a great question. So I went to East Carolina University and there's an athletic academic advisor. I wasn't a student athlete, but my friends were all on the track team. So therefore I knew a lot of people. And since my undergrad was exercise science and my master's was athletic administration, I got to know a lot of people in athletics. So academic athletic advisor, Karla F, he played for East Carolina. And I would go to him for advice on what to do to navigate into the sports industry. And I appreciate him allowing me to do that because I wasn't one of his students, and even connected me with the Carolina Panthers here in Charlotte in order to do an internship in sport marketing through the connections that he knew. Although the internship didn't take place due to the Panthers had a really bad season that year. I think it was like 2002. I still appreciated the help, the assistance, the feedback, and the connections that he gave me. And till today, I still don't forget that. After I moved to Charlotte, I started working at Johnson C. Smith, and I met someone named Dr. Robert Lyons. He's actually the past chair here at Queen's University of Charlotte for the kinesiology department. And over the years, the level of encouragement, kind of your mentor should also pull you along. So anywhere he went from Smith to here, was one of the first adjuncts here at Queens for sport management because he pulled me along and wanted to see me grow. Even reaches out all the time to see what I'm doing, if I want to participate in this study or attend this event. And I talk often when I talk about getting a mentor, you need a sponsor also. And I would say that Dr. Lyons is also a sponsor for me because there are times where he's mentioned me or provided me with the opportunity when I wasn't even in the room. And we should reach out to Dr. Jones about this. And I appreciate that. And I see the value in having someone more knowledgeable than you, because we don't know everything, in your corner.
And I actually know that you are doing this, like talking to people and actually telling them that you know someone with good strengths and good fit. So I really appreciate it, and it's really important. And I had a question about leadership, but now I want to stop at how connections are important, because you said networking is super important for your future. So can you elaborate about that, please? Like how connections kind of made you stand out maybe, or helped you through your career?
Yeah, I think you never know who you're going to meet, and therefore you always got to treat a situation as is the person that you're meeting will be beneficial for you. And even, for example, when I first met you, I felt like you were a rock star in the things that you were doing. So anytime someone was looking for someone, I was like, I know Adam, and Adam would be great. It's just connections get you further than what you think. And I think it goes back to, you never know what someone is saying, behind the scenes. So you always want to put your best foot forward. The level of networking events and things that we have around Charlotte are very important because the people you're meeting have a further reach than you think. For me, my standout moment was in 2006. I took a part-time job with the Charlotte Bobcats team security. Didn't go in there thinking I was going to get a team security job because it was new. They hadn't done it before with the NBA for the Bobcats. And I took that job not knowing that job would lead to a new world. And my first task was for the WNBA. I missed the Charlotte Sting. Muggsy Bogues was actually head coach, and I was responsible for their locker room and the players. And I sat there cheesing the whole season because I was just happy to be there. But over the years, the Bobcats moved on, and there was a lot of staff there that I met and other part-time and full-time employees. And over the years, because I was there for almost 9 years, people move away. So if you made a connection with someone and they move away, you now have a connection in that market. And I keep in contact with all of them. They're awesome. They even contact me to give feedback from my students on what should they do. One was Marlene Hendricks. She was the VP of guest experience. She reached out because, there's some concerns that when students graduate and try to take these entry level jobs, they're not having any part-time experience. And so she wanted to encourage students to take part-time jobs as well. My other friend, Donna Julian, general manager of Spectrum Center and the Charlotte Hornets, she's awesome with giving back to students and always, states whatever you need for your students, I'm here for you. And Ebony Wilson, rock star, she moved away, but now she's up in New York. I think it's USB Arena. I always say it wrong. But she even said to my students that if Dr. Jones calls me, I will do, she was like, other people can reach out. I'll see what I can do. But if Dr. Jones reaches out, I'm therefore taking that one part-time job because I was working full-time at Wachovia. The young people probably don't know what Wachovia is, but it's now Wells Fargo. But taking that one job just opened up so many doors. And I was even telling another one of my friends, she works for Ally now, her name is Tina, that I want to build relationships with these organizations. I just don't want to tap them when I need something. I actually want our networking experiences to be a built relationship. And I think the last thing is, during the pandemic, I decided to join WISE, Women in Sports and Entertainment, the Charlotte chapter, and just networking with them and attending the different events because we attend, but everyone works the room and talks to each other and everyone's excited to meet and speak with each other.
What key principles do you believe are essential for effective leadership?
I think you have to lead by example. And that's one thing I pride myself on doing. If I'm telling my students they need to be in the field, doing experiential learning, networking, and different things like that, I feel like I need to practice what I preach, basically. I know there's, some instances, maybe at some schools where, the professor is telling them do this or do that, but the professor doesn't necessarily have the experience within the field. And that is what I do. I'll get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to go to a networking event with Charlotte Sports Plus Business if I have to, in order to do that for my students or even for myself to build myself. Therefore, I feel like leading by example is important. And there's been times where I've worked and volunteered beside my students, even with the Super Bowl. I worked those 10-hour shifts along with them while they were working, and I enjoyed every minute of it. In addition, I feel like, transparency is important because you have to have those hard or crucial conversations with them. And typically I do ask, I was like, do you want the honest feedback? And they'll say yes. And you give it to them and also help them plan because, some people only think like a month out, a few months out. You got to plan and set your course and your path. And if all the chips don't fall in the line, you still have a backup plan in place. So I think leaders should do that. Just being there, taking the time to actually engage with them. If your door is always closed and people have to knock or figure out when you're around, are you really being effective with your people? And in addition, engagement, you got to have those interpersonal skills. I honestly do not think you can be a great leader without some level of interpersonal skills. And not saying you have to be a comedian. Sometimes I pride myself on comedy, but you just got to have interpersonal skills and be able to connect. But in addition, as I said, got to still be able to have those critical conversations. You can't always be really, nice about everything. Not saying you have to be rude, but sometimes you have to be able to give tough feedback, but also have, great interpersonal skills.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this because I think it's important to understand that sometimes you have to make tough decisions. You don't have to enjoy it, but it's just the reality of being a leader. You are also involved in sports philanthropy. Can you please tell us what it actually is? Because it sounds really awesome, but just to, what we can imagine, what is actually sports philanthropy?
Yes, so I recently joined an organization that focused on that for the sports industry. And for me, it's just providing resources. We see all of the funding that professional sports have, but we don't see all the funding that high school athletics, college athletics, like D3 schools, things like that, or even community-based sport organizations have. And they need that. Government funding sometimes only goes so far. So you need industry leaders that actually have those networking skills that you mentioned earlier to help pull in those donors and help contribute. And even when you look at it, it's not always only contributing dollars. This could be contributing time as well. That's why I don't mind serving on advisory boards, or if someone, we need help with this particular session or different things like that, I don't mind doing it. And there's also a nonprofit in Charlotte, Sports Biz Careers, that I love their mission, different things that they do. And I like to, give back to that organization when I can, whether it's through time or through any type of funding I can provide during their giving days. And I just think that we have to, as mentioned, give funds, but also give time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have many experiences in various educational institutions. What initiatives do you believe are crucial for enhancing diversity and inclusion within sports management?
Yeah, the schools around North Carolina, I think they are awesome. We actually are part of an association together where we stay connected. We go to conferences together. We do articles together. Most notably, as mentioned, Johnson C. Smith, Winston-Salem State, Catawba College, Wingate, Chowan. And I think we all see the importance of the student experience. I mean, we all can teach the content. We all can give quizzes. We all can give papers. But I think what's great about all of us, and I forgot to add North Carolina A&T with Dr. Lyons as well. But the important thing is we are pulling these students out in front of people. They're presenting case studies. They're presenting posters. They are sitting on panels. They are joining foundations. They are joining cohorts for organizations, but it's a collective thing, and we share things with each other. And because my running thing is I don't own the sports industry. Therefore, if a student from another school, such as Winston-Salem, reaches out to me, I'm going to help that student because I know the level that that program has for educating them. Therefore, I can help enhance their student experience. Here at Queens, I value making sure that professionals come to campus each semester. I bring at least 20 to 25 industry professionals to campus, whether it's being a guest speaker, doing mock interviews, or whatever I can do. Actually, today, MKTG is coming to talk about their training program. And you should see how students light up when they start talking about the different things that they do. Because coincidentally, right after a speaker came to speak, we were going to Vegas, and MKTG allowed us to visit their marketing activation with Mars Wrigley behind the scenes. And that was an awesome experience for the students, and probably something that they will not forget throughout their educational career. And having them do things like this shows them new career paths that they did not know about. Because I know when I was undergrad, I didn't know sport agency or marketing agency work was a thing or you can't do. So yeah, therefore these schools around here and ourselves, I think we're the front runners for student experience and enhancing those experiences.
Mindfulness and motivation go hand in hand. How do you stay motivated?
Staying motivated. I think for job wise, my excitement is incorporating sports into academics. And I think since I have that passion and that level, I never get bored. There's always something to do. As soon as something ends, there's something else that I'm working on. My chair, Dr. Amy Knobb, sometimes she'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep you from doing that right now because, I tend to take on a lot. So I just stay excited. If I have downtime, I'll go to a college fair and set up a table. I've done several with the Hornets. Just did one with ILI for their particular event, getting students interested in sports industry. So I think you have to do what you love, and that keeps your motivation. In my spare time, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I just love that sorority, have a passion for everything that they're doing. And my motivation is I'm an officer in the chapter, and I'm also on a national committee, and my committee is educational development. Therefore, we're focusing on that, and we're doing some awesome and exciting things that keeps me motivated. And I know you're on the triathlon team. I think I told you I train women to participate in their first mini or sprint triathlon. And I do that over the summer. And, it gets hard with training because not only are they training, but sometimes I'm training to do the same event. But seeing them reach the finish line is awesome. So you can look at that academic wise, seeing those students at graduation is going to be amazing. And one of my students, shout out to Stephen Miner, I am going to create a handshake with Stephen for when he walks by to cross the stage. So, they've had a tough 4 years, being that their pandemic hit when they were graduating and coming into Queens. Therefore, seeing them cross the line is important. And then personal wise, I think I just enjoy life. I enjoy naps. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy cutting the grass. That season is starting back up. I enjoy, even though I don't see them as often as I probably like, enjoy, hearing from my family the great things that they're doing as well. And, even though, we don't talk often as I would like, it's just connecting when we can connect, because everyone lives everywhere. So it's hard for everyone to be in the same place at the same time, but you can still look forward to that. So I just positive thinking, I think. Not saying that I don't ever get down, but I feel like I'm good at pulling myself up quickly because, I feel like, there's just so much more out there to do.
There can be many challenges when organizing sports event, when doing like sport management, or in general in sports, there is a lot going on. How do you approach when something happens and you don't have control over it? How do you approach these challenges? What is the best practice?
Yeah, I won't dive in deep, but there has been some instances where there was some pretty big things that I wanted to do and it did not work out. And basically what I had to do is jump into a plan B. And I think in a lot of cases, especially when you look at students, funding is usually something that's difficult. And I do not like to ask students to have to, pay for this or pay for that. But, sometimes you have to, for example, we did as much as we could to raise funds for the Super Bowl experience, but the students did have to pay some out of pocket. So that did nothing but fuel me. I'm going to spend this whole next year trying to find funding for students to have this experience, because we hopefully will be in New Orleans in 2025 working that experience. And, like I said, I wanted students to not have to pay, and that's still my goal, for them not have to pay. In addition, and, there's been situations where I, probably didn't get a job. For example, I did apply here in 2018. Because I started as an adjunct in 2014. But, it wasn't my time. I think that's the most valuable thing I've learned from my sorority is, a lot of people want to be in it, but it may not be your time. But that does not mean don't try again. So even with this, when, the job opened back up again, I applied, and I think that was my time. Right at the heart of the pandemic, it was my time to demonstrate that I could pivot in a situation like that. I showed my strength through the internship class I was teaching. I had 19 interns out in the field when the pandemic hit, and I had to basically pull them all off site towards the end and think of a plan B for them, for the ones that were not able to continue. But that was my time to be in that particular situation at that particular time. And yeah, everything's not all going to always go your way. I even, let the seniors know that, because, they're on their way out, they're looking for jobs. They, are be in stressful situations, but, I told them last semester, things are going to happen in life, on your job, and you're probably going to be really upset on how they played out, but you're going to still push through, finish your task. And then if you decide to move on, but you're going to finish that task no matter what happened during it.
This is great, and I think it's great advice before some students are applying now for the summer internships, and not always you can get to do the internship you really want. And I think this is really great advice that sometimes it's just not your time, and you can wait and then apply again, and it can happen.
Yeah, and I recently shared a post. One of my former students, Theodore Wade, Theo, any networking event I would send out while he was here, any opportunity he could apply for, he applied for. And then it was just a struggle to, get some things solidified, as graduation was approaching, but he never stopped. He kept reaching out. He kept applying. And I hope I'm saying the name right. He's working for Wasserman right now. I just saw that he, got a job, a promotion there, but it just shows his perseverance. He could have got discouraged and he could have stopped and went to go work for Bank of America or something else. But his passion was to have some connection to sports, and he's working for an agency doing that. And I'm proud that he kept pushing, because I remember the emails, never heard back from this Dr. Jones, or do you know anyone here? And he's doing great.
That's an amazing story. How do you stay updated with the latest trends in the sports industry?
Sports industry, sometimes I will listen to things in my car. Yeah, and I love listening to Stephen A. Smith, First Take, and Shannon Sharp. So I tune in the best I can. I search things on internet. During class, we do sometimes get off and banter back and forth and learn some different things. Like our banter the other day, whereas for sport analytics, we're doing the NCAA brackets. I don't know every team, but we were going, what about this team? What about that team? In addition, LinkedIn, sports industry, we are starting to use that platform to get a lot out there. I learn a lot from the articles that they're posting. There's also a professor, Dr. Patrick Risch, out of Missouri. He goes around, does interviews, different things about that on the state of the sports industry as it relates to economics and finance. And just reading. You gotta read. You gotta stay up to date. And you got to attend things. I think the last Charlotte Sports Plus Business event that I attended, there were some pioneers within the industry that was there. I think one lady was the former president of the Wizards. And just, you got to hear these people knowledge and experience that they've, been through. And I think that definitely helps. So being well-versed requires a lot of reading and staying engaged and just talking, just having a conversation, and you'll learn something. Then you'll tell someone else, did y'all know about this? So, yeah.
My last question is, what goals and aspirations you have for the future in personal and professional life?
I'll start professional. The goal is just to keep pushing this program forward at Queens, sport management, continue to get the students opportunities, continue building those relationships, and continuing to, educate people not only at Queens, but around on the importance of experiential learning. I love everything about experiential learning, and I just want to keep doing that. It just drives me for doing that, and just keep engaging in the sports industry. I did have this whole goal of attending or being in one arena or a stadium each month, different ones. I did it last year. I had to repeat a couple, but I did hit 12 different arenas and stadiums. Just doing different things like that is exciting for me. Personally, just learning how to say no sometimes. Last year, this time, I was on 4 boards. I was the chair of the East Carolina Alumni Association, the national board. I was on the board of directors for the American Heart Association. I was an area director and a president for a Toastmasters club. And I was also the president of the Sport Management Association. So those terms all expired coincidentally at the same time. And I decided I wasn't going to add back on more. I was just going to do what I was doing. So just being strategic about things and pacing myself and understanding that I can't do everything and I can only, do as much as I can, and just doing things that bring me joy. If it's not bringing me joy, I'm at the phase where I probably won't do it or participate in it, and just having peace, being healthy, and keep doing those triathlons, riding my Peloton, whatever I can do. But my goal is just to keep persevering through volunteering, work, and just being happy.
Thank you for your great advice, Dr. Jones. Have a great day, and thank you.
Thank you too, Adam.